Hey, what's up, witches? It's me, Luna, and I have set a trap. There is a pie wacket right there. There's a blanket right here. Now, pie wacket is usually like back there when I'm doing my lives and stuff, but you can't see him because he is the void. And my daughter was here for Thanksgiving, and she mentioned that she got on the bed and she put a blanket on her, and she said cats cannot resist a blanket on top of another blanket, and it was true because within a couple of minutes she had two of our three cats like right up against her. So I have set a trap for my pie wacket because he needs a job, and his job is to show up here. And this isn't entirely off topic because I'm here for an unboxing today. And my last unboxing was the Golden Black Cat Tarot. And this time it is the Golden Tarot by Cat Black. Look at that. It ties up in a nice, neat little package. How satisfying. I have known about this deck for a long, long time, but it's just kind of on the periphery. And the more I heard about it, the more I wanted it. And I finally have it. It comes in a lovely box. It's US Games. The lid's a little loose, I am noticing. A stunning compilation of tarot collages from artwork of the late Middle Ages. Let me see something here. No, it doesn't make a difference. And early Renaissance. The poignant images evoke a feeling of gentle beauty and human frailty while remaining true to the tradition of the Rider-Waite symbolism. Can we make that the Smith-Waite or the Waite-Smith at least? Please, Rider-Waite-Smith, just let's add 50% of the equation here that's missing. Anyway, enough grumping. As I said, US Games, and that bums me that the lid is very folly-offy, Oh well. Sturdy box, and look at the gilding. I would hope that a tarot called Golden would have gilding, and looky, it does. But we want the book first. Okay. Look at this chunky little book. Very well bound. And I kind of hate to crack the binding, but you gotta. So this is 2003 from US Games. So it has been around a while. Okay, we have acknowledgments. Let's look at the table of contents. Acknowledgments, source artwork, digital collage. So she explains all this. Tarot spreads, the majors, the minors, appendix A and B, a bibliography, and then about the authors. So this is very exciting. Blessed be the giver, cursed be the thief. May fortune smile upon the true and liars come to grief is a little verse there. All right, let's see. Let's read. Golden Tarot is a celebration of Tarot's heritage. It has been collaged completely from artwork of the late Middle Ages and early Renaissance. Poignant images of gentle beauty and human frailty come from a time of violence, pestilence, and oppression. They speak of a truth that is timeless and a hope that flowers even in the darkest conditions. I got my first tarot deck when I was 15. Like most people, I started with the Rider-Waite deck as it's so easy to read, and probably the only one around. I loved the look of antique decks, though. So after a few years, I got a Visconti Sforza facsimile deck. The beautiful simplicity of the images and the lush gold leaf backgrounds are really appealing, but if you've ever tried to actually read tarot using an antique deck, you'll know how difficult that can be. They're pip decks. I loved my Sforza deck, but I longed for a deck that looked genuinely Renaissance and yet was also easy to interpret. Unlike the Sforza and other tarot decks that have survived from the era, Golden Tarot has a fully illustrated minor arcana in addition to the major arcana and court cards. To the extent that is possible, with images over 500 years old, the modern tarot tradition established by the Rider-Waite deck in 1910 has been followed. The result is a Renaissance deck that is visually authentic but with modern ease of interpretation. And it says it's a standard 78 card deck. The source artwork. Golden Tarot was originally created to widen the audience for artwork of an underrated and little-known period. Most of the paintings used are in European churches, so very few of us get to see them in real life. European artwork of the late 14th and early 15th century was largely of a religious theme, which is a reflection of the society of the time, or at least those in society who could afford to commission art, yes. The images used are from 1200 to 1500 AD, a fascinating period both in history and art. The extensive, so just before, the Renaissance really kicked off, the extensive use of gold leaf as well as experimentation with perspective and use of light and shadow make for some very beautiful pictures. All right, so she goes on. I've avoided images that are already familiar to people, such as the works of Botticelli, Da Vinci, and Michelangelo. They were so ahead of their time that their high Renaissance style would have been conspicuously different than the rest of the deck. Also, part of the joy I get from my collage work is gaining recognition for original artworks that are not widely known but deserve to be. So I've avoided pictures that are commonly recognizable. That's very respectable. Each has been collaged digitally and then digital collage. I was a cut and paste kid. I would amuse myself for hours with scrap paper and scissors on the floor of my parents' small home office. I remember making an adult a paper purse when I was about 6 years old and expecting that she should actually use it. Well, of course she should. Before the days of scanners and graphic software, I collaged photocopies of medieval woodcuts with a blade and glue. Yes. That's all I gotta say, because I was one too. Many collage artists still use that technique, such as Sarah Ovenall with her beautiful Victoria Regina tarot deck. I need to look that up. While I understand the appeal of a physical technique, I fell in love with pixel pushing as soon as the technology developed. I made my first digital tarot deck in deluxe paint, deep paint, and on an Amiga in the early 1990s. At 32 colors, that deck wasn't exactly impressive, but the seeds of golden tarot were sown. Okay. She's a web developer. Collage artists are the Frankensteins of the art world, sewing together elements from disparate sources to create something new and unique, although hopefully the analogy ends there. Many collage artists deliberately juxtapose elements in an obvious manner, whereas I aim for a composition that looks like it could have been painted that way. This is a stylistic issue, and neither approach is intrinsically better. However, my goal was to make a deck that looked genuine, so I've done the job well. If I've done the job well, people might not even notice that the images are collaged. So she brings considerable skill to bear, and she is a painter too. My painting style is quite naive and cartoon-like, and at first glance, nothing like the images I worked with on this deck. So now we know a little bit about her, and then she goes straight into tarot spreads. There's card of the day. Boy, this book, I mean, you can't even like bend it and riffle through because it's a fatty. Simple 3-card spread, the Celtic cross spread, the horseshoe spread. I like horseshoes. That might be one to do. Then we're straight into the major arcana, and we get a description, a meaning, and reversed. When we get to the minors, same deal. We just go straight in. There's a general description of the suit of swords. Then we get a card description, meaning, reverse. And then with the aces, there's a little extra thing that says multiple aces in a spread. That's cool. Pardon me, I got so excited there for a second. Let me scoot in. The fact that in the minors, at the bottom of each thing, multiple 2s in a spread, multiple 3s in a spread, and it goes through the whole thing, even though, see, like multiple 9s in the cups, multiple 9s, 3 9s, an important message will arrive soon. Yes, so it's the exact same message, of course, for all of the cards of that particular number, but what an extra awesome little bonus. And then, check it. Here's Appendix A, Major Arcana, Sources for the Fool. And she lists every painting and all of its information for each one of those cards. Then we have, no, that's still Appendix A. Let's get to Appendix B and see what that is. I mean, this is copious. This is a scholarly work. in addition to, you know, everything else. Appendix B, profile of the red-haired woman. Dragon initial, gilt fill on initial. Card border and back gilt pattern parchment text panel. Okay, so this is profile of red-haired woman. And I mean, she's there, but oh, okay, I guess that's just this card. The dragon initial, there's the dragon, the gilt fill on the initial, the card border, and the back gilt pattern, and parchment text panel. That must be this. Wow. Okay. So right off, mad respect. I know why it gets talked about the way it does. Okay, I have put that facing card back here so you can see it. Golden Tarot by Cat Black, published by US Game Systems, blah, blah. And then we have that red-haired woman. This is the same. No, it's slightly different. Golden Tarot is a compilation of collages from artwork of the late Middle Ages and early Renaissance. Poignant images of gentle beauty. All right, I think that is from straight from the introduction. Yes, it is. All right, so we have our two conveniently provided blocking cards. All right, oh, we got to look at the back. So this is the gilded pattern that is referred to in Appendix B. Obviously non-directional. Now, I do want to say this is it's a fat deck. I mean, as all tarot is, but I'm not really looking forward. These cards, as compared to like the Fyodor Pavlov, which is gilded, but it doesn't have that really flat edge. You know, sometimes gilding requires fatter cardstock, but it doesn't actually feel that bad. Slightly thicker. We'll find out. All comes out in the shuffle, right? So here's the Fool. Pardon my bandages, by the way. Here's the Fool. And so we have the dog nipping at the heels, and he doesn't have like a thing over his shoulder, but he's got a drum. So he has that vibe of like an entertainer or a jester, which the Fool is frequently dressed as. And we see the edge of the cliff here. Kind of looking off like, looking rather clueless, I have to say. Here's the Magician. Wow. So she actually has that tape. And so you know what now? All right, I won't, I promise I'll only do this once. We're going to the appendix. And we are looking at the sources for the Magician, Man and Animals, Master Bertram, German painter. And then we have additional Owl and Falcon. I'm not going to go too deep. I guess up in the top left corner is someone else, Unknown Illuminators. The plants are from a painting, The Table and Earthen Jug. Oh, so she cobbled all of this together, you guys. So the table and the jug are from one painting. The knife on the table is from another painting. The coin is from one. The wand, the cup, the infinity symbol, and the ground cover plants are all from different paintings. Okay, another level of respect achieved. Amazing. All right. So you get everything you'd want to see with the Magician and then some. Look at all those animals. I've never seen animals on a Magician card. And then we have the High Priestess. Look at, I mean, she's looking very priestly. And we have the two pillars. And we have this spotted cat. And a staff and the book. I mean, the Renaissance medieval vibe is certainly there. And I am so appreciating the fact that she didn't choose familiar images, because that kind of pulls you in a, you know, in a habitual kind of direction. There's the Empress, Madonna and Child. Look at the rabbits for fertility, the fruit, the angels, the babies. Oh my gosh. And here's the Emperor. He looks kind of pooped. I get it, bud. Wow. So you can pretty much guarantee that everything you're looking at is coming from different sources, and she has clipped and pasted. And let me tell you something, to do a cut and paste digitally of like fine lines and stuff is not easy to do. I'm sure there's probably a tablet that makes it a lot easier, but it's not as easy as just taking a pair of scissors and cutting around, or an X-Acto knife. So again, we see what we expect to see. There's columns. Clearly, he's a priestly figure. We have two people kind of doing this. But I like that there are nuances, like this guy kind of looks like he's behind him and looking up, and he's looking off to the right, which means if you're laying cards out in a big spread, you can get information from the way he's looking, you know? Just, just so good. The lovers, clearly Adam and Eve um, before God laid the shame on them. So the fear of God. Let's talk about the shame of God. And there's a doogie. But do I see, this is pretty freaking interesting. And the angel, and it's because this is not the Adam and Eve story. This is the Tarot lover story, but I don't see a serpent here. And usually there's a flaming tree and anyhow. All right, I'm a little quicker now. The chariot, how interesting. We have a black and a white swan pulling the chariot. Look at the buildings behind. And I mean, the chariot itself looks like a building. Clearly, she's put this together. And look at this person looking like a woman standing on top. The images are very good. They're very pleasing to look at. They certainly look cohesive. Not like, the Voyager deck is one of those collages where the images aren't grounded, together like in a landscape. They're just sort of on top of each other, but it is also extremely deftly done. It takes a lot to pick out each of the images because they're just placed so well. But this one, everyone is in the same context. They're in the same landscape. It is collage that tells a complete story. And so well done. What's that? I don't know what that is. But there's strength, the woman in the line. And look what's just kind of swooping down on her. That's very interesting. So there's additional very interesting nuggets. Here's the Hermit. And a looking St. Francis-y. The Wheel of Fortune. So we have a woman and a child in bed. Is this childbirth? The wheel is up here in the corner. We've got, oh, how interesting. Look, there's a stable and a manger. So name that baby. And then here's Joseph, one imagines, blowing up a little bit of a fire. Wow. Talk about extras. Now there's Justice. Look at this. It's like this. There's an angel and a devil, and they're both kind of yanking on the same sword, staff. That's a staff. That must be a sword. It's the actual scale. Okay, so there's the thing hanging from that end, and it's the angel and the devil that are weighing on things. All right, and then down here as well, the angel's lifting up, the devil's pulling down. Wow. I would love to know how long it took her to do each one of these cards. They're absolutely magnificent. Here's the Hanged Man. And this is a very interesting image too. If I'm not even going to go there. All right, here's the Death card. Look at this. I love this image, this woman and the deathly pallor and the angels coming to. I mean, at the mouth, and look at this winged skeleton over the top. So good. I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting, first of all, I didn't know it was collage. I was just expecting these great, Renaissance-y paintings, another rendering of the Waite Smith deck, but this is far, far beyond. And I'm not even just halfway through the major arcana. Here's Temperance. The Devil. Oh, I mean, they are so very recognizable in a new and an old way. So good. The Tower. Look at everybody down here hollering. Ah! It's cool because you see the tower and what's happening there, but you also see the reaction down below. There's the star. Look how sweet. Sweet and doughy. Sorry. Guys, here's the moon. Look at again all the animals. So we see a rabbit and a stag, and we see the dog. I don't know if that I see the wolf. I mean, this is a deck to sit in some really, I will get out my bright magnifying light that I use when I'm beating, and I will look at these cards. Because there's lots and lots of stuff to see. Here's the sun. Again, very, very recognizable. The Judgment card. And there's Jesus stepping forth. I think of Monty Python when I see these trumpeters. Yes, I do. Here's the world. So we do have the 4 fixed signs. Look at her with her cloak outspread and all the people under the cloak. I want to see if it mentions what is written there. All right, a woman shields people benevolently under her cape. She's surrounded by the 4 evangelists from Ezekiel 1:10, an angel, an eagle, a bull, and a lion. But it doesn't say. Dang. Again, and it's a piece of music. That's a musical staff. A job for the lit magnifier, or the magnified light. Okay, here's the Ace of Swords. So not just a pip, even on the aces. There's the 2. I betcha there were no blindfold images to be had, but I really like that image. Look at the darkness, the 3 of Swords. Again, totally recognizable with fabulous added extras. There's the 4. And the 5. I'm so very curious. I mean, just the hours of work looking, hunting, searching these images. Do you have like the entire deck in your head and then you look through all these artworks and say, I could use that, I could use that? Or do you do a card at a time and then go looking? And here's the 6 of Swords. The 7, and the images too. I mean, you can really see the expressions on the faces, very well chosen. And there's the 8. Oh, look, there's a blindfold. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. She's very loosely bound here with the blindfold on. Amazing. I bet she had to make that blindfold. Said I was only going to do this once, but I did it once for major. Now I'm going to do it for minor. All right. Okay, Swords are the first suit up here. Let's see. A woman stands in a harsh, icy landscape. That's not what I wanted to look up. Thanks for hanging with me, you guys. You are patient and accommodating. All right. There's the woman. There's the icy stream background. The rope is a separate one. The underskirt is a separate. The blindfold is separate and the black wimple is separate. Wow. Okay. And then there's the Nine of Swords. You know, everything being proportional. And there's the 10. Look at the dog. And look at how he's like down in this pit. Just amazing. There's the page. With a cow jumping over the moon? A bull? That's kind of interesting. I'll be interested to see the rest of the pages because the bull is representative of Taurus, which is earth. This is air. So trying to make a mental note. We'll see if it lasts through another suit. There's the knight. Looks like St. George slaying the dragon. The queen. And the king. Boy, he looks sussy, doesn't he? There's the Ace of Wands. Look at the fire. The 2. With the orb in his hand, there's the 3. And look at, he's down like at the level of the harbor with this big boat coming in. So there must have been, you know, issues of, wow, that I can't find exactly what I'm looking for. What can I use to illustrate? There's the 4 of Wands. Wee-hee, everybody's dancing and partying. The 5 of Wands. But what are these women in the front doing? It looks like they're getting ready to do the laundry. Okay, 5 of Wands. We were just playing. And there's the victory card. Then we have the 7 of Wands. That's a little awkward. So you can see how she's had to, you know, put a context and plunk somebody on top of it. But, you know, I mean, that isn't even a complaint. It's just she's done so well. Here's the 8 of Wands. Gracia, it says. There's the 9. So he's got his bandage on his head. Again, extremely familiar. And there's the 10. There's the page. We see rabbits. And we see fire here, so we don't see the lion. That's okay. All right, so that bull didn't mean anything in that first image there. There's the page. There's something written on that banner. I'm not going to try. The Knight of Wands. Again, there's a lot of writing here and there, but I don't know if it's really meant to be read. It's yet to be seen whether it's able to be read with my eyes. Look at her. She is glorious. There is no fucking with this woman. She knows what she knows. She's like, wow. And there's the King of Wands. This little salamander. Ace of Cups. The 2. They look kind of bored. A little different from the 2 where people are, you know, really vibing. They just sort of look side by side bored. There's the 3. And the 4. Boy, if that isn't a harumph. Arms folded and all. The 5. That look at the loss. Kind of a silhouette of a weeping angel up there. There's the 6. I just love how familiar. The 7 with all the right things in the cups. The 8. So these kind of look like they're in the castle or in a cave even. And that he's outside going, I'm out of here. Done. Taking my bundle and I'm going. And there's the 9 of Cups. I love that we have a lot of mother and child images showing up. Crow with a dish of what? Cranberries? I don't know. There's the 10 of Cups. What a loving scene. I like seeing them close up. There's the Page of Cups, the Knight, the Queen. She looks a little concerned. And the King. And yes, they do get, because they are gilded, sometimes they stick and you have to sort of crack the deck. There's the Ace of Cups, or the Ace of Coins, I'm sorry, the 2. How interesting that it's sort of on a cane. The 3. Look at all the planning and cutting and supervision and execution. I like that. Here's the 4. Everybody's living their life. I'm playing with my money. And the 5. But they look like they're inside the church. Maybe they're just outside the door. I don't know. There's the 6. Payments and debts, things being weighed out. 7 of coins. The 8 with all of his tools. The 9. And the 10. So this is on the 10 of Pentacles. It's very interesting because everyone on that card, nobody's connecting with each other. They're all looking in different places. They're all kind of in their own little thing. And it's the same here. Everyone's got their own task to be doing. And, you know, we've got someone reading, someone picking stuff, someone gardening, burying, cooking, not sure. Someone, there's a musical thing going on with a baby here. So cool. There's the page with the angel. And again, see, the one on the swords was the bull, which is earth. The one on the earth suit here is the angel, which is air. Very interesting. Then we have the knight that doesn't go anywhere, faithfully rendered. The queen and the king. Yeah. So I am so the opposite of disappointed. I am surprisingly amazed at this deck. And, you know, I had heard it mentioned many times. I hadn't watched any videos or anything on it, but what it was people would be talking about a deck and going, you know, this or the cat black deck. Oh yeah, the cat black deck, you know. So it's like, all right, I guess I really need this deck. And now I know why. It is so well done. So let's give her a blessing. Where's my matches? Foo-foo on that butane. Like I said, just the knowledge, first of all, that she brings, you know, a web designer, she's an artist and a clearly someone with a vast skill set and knowledge. Whoop. There we go. And it shows up in every one of these images. By air and fire, may you be purified and charged. I can't wait to read. I cannot wait to read with this. I'm blessing every single bit of it. And by water and earth, may you be blessed and made whole and manifest. And by the sound of the bell, may the spirit awaken within you. What's fun, when I really want to clear a deck, I'll actually put it in the bowl. I do it with my jewelry. It's great. It makes a buzz like there's a little snare. Let's get rid of this. And welcome in, guides and guardians, allies and ancestors. Thank you for being with me. All of you who are familiar with this artwork, you know, Thank you for being here. I invite you to please help me play with this deck, and I offer you fresh water, and I offer you the fire of Azrael to awaken the gift of divination within this deck. Yes, we're doing it all. We're doing it all. And I like to do that because then you open the box. Here, let's trap it. And it smells really good. I have a deck that I used on my live stream last night, which was the Ancient Feminine Wisdom cards, I believe. I don't know why they smell as good as they do, but they smell really good. All right. Pray for me. Especially since I can't use my index finger. I just have to leave it sticking out. Sorry. It can be done. It will more easily be done when I have use of all my digits. So what I'm going to do for now is split the deck. It does have that sharpish edge because of the gilding. And but they can be shuffled. Let's try this second one face up and see if it makes a difference, because they do kind of chunk a little bit, but that just could be because of my clumsiness here. All right, that was a fail. Let's do it again. The facing up trick is because I learned it with the Talisman Oracle and the Witch Oracle, the Woman in Total Control of Herself Oracle. That gilding sometimes leaves a lip, because that edge has to be flat for the gilding to have something to, someplace to be. And it leaves this kind of lip that sometimes, and that was not right. You saw that happening, didn't you? When you put them face up, it puts that lip in such a place that it seems to, they riffle better. They don't go in chunks. They go, with individual cards. All right, I am going to split and pull, because I'm not going to mess any more with shuffling. It's uncomfortable for both of us. Get my hair out of the way. Another chronic problem. All right, so I think let's look at this 7-card or 8-card horseshoe for our test drive. It is the past. So it goes 7 cards across the past, the present, hidden influences, obstacles, house, action, outcome. House is the influence of close friends, family. Okay, action and outcome. And then there's a 0 card. It says it's excellent for a thorough analysis of a specific question or situation. It's quite linear, can be adapted for specific purposes. Firstly, the querent clearly expresses the question, e.g., should I sell my home and move to Canada? A significator is then chosen to represent the querent or situation and placed face up in position 0. The remaining cards should then be shuffled by the reader or querent, cut 3 times by the querent, placed face up. I'm not going to do that. I'll do my regular little upside down triangle thing. But I do want to comment when it talked about, finding out the question and then picking a significator for that. For instance, something about, a wedding or getting married, maybe you'd pick the Lover's card or the 2 of Cups or the 4 of Cups. But pulling something out of the deck and setting it there as a significator, to me, removes that card from being able to show up in the reading. And I don't like that. So even if you do pick a significator, I think it would be useful to either pick it from a different deck if you want it to be sitting there, or just write it down, have it in your mind. Here's the card. Frequently, if I'm doing a reading, and there's a very specific thing, and I will say, show me this card, if blah, 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 it can be something that validates that I've gotten a good shuffle, that it's a valid reading. Yes, there's the significator. It showed up. So you can do it that way. But we are going to, let me focus now. All right. Please allow me a reading. 6 cards for the collective, for my viewers. What do we need to know right now? How are we doing? How do you like us now? All right, these want to come off the top, and they are all like they're consecutive, so I'm not going to do it. See, that's why I'm not going to take them off the top, because I did not get a good randomization, but we are going to split and pull, and I will stop shuffling. All right. What do we need to know? You know, I can do the way my daughter does, which is you split and then you shuffle in between each. Okay. Very quickly. So we have the Seven of Swords out first, the High Priestess, come on, the Two of Swords. And see, doing it this way, it's absolutely randomized. The Devil. I'm putting you all back in because that's too many. We will shuffle again. So you kind of have to decide, you know, ahead of time what the process is going to be, and you know, whether or not you're going to allow jumpers to change things one way or another. If just one card had flipped out, I would have taken it. But since it was like 7 cards that came out, it's like, yeah, no. The Hierophant. Look at this. Look at this. 4 majors and then swords. All right, so just a very general reading without looking anything up. Here's one of the ways to approach a reading, is by just looking at the breakdown of things. The only minor arcana we have are swords, and everything else is a major. And the way they are arranged in this cross pattern, you know, at the center of the reading, is absolutely fascinating. So the swords: air, intellect, curiosity, information, communication. So that tells me the majors: big life things, big life changes, major decisions, major issues to be resolved, life, you know, lessons, that we really need to be looking at these things clearly. Look at his face. He's looking back at this group with like great fear and trepidation. That's the Seven of Swords. Betrayal, the Thief card. What am I getting out of this? What's in it for me? You know, very suspicious looking. And then Two of Swords, where she's got her swords crossed. I need to protect myself from something, but she's like leaning forward and really looking. Let's look at these majors. The High Priestess, our highest spiritual expression here, being in service to spirit, in service to that internal, that indwelling spiritual connection. We have High Priestess with the Hierophant down here, spirituality, religion. If you watched my live stream for November 24th, 2023, and you're watching this the day after, you're laughing your ass off right now. Because there was a big discussion about it. So you can go watch that now, you know. And then we have the Devil and strength. What controls us, what we are in control of. So the difference between our own innate spirituality versus the external context and how we fit into that, and the rules of society here. And okay, what's he fearful of here? The devil. He's like, I'm just not in control. All right, hold on a second. So his idea of being in control is to have all the swords. If I have to, you know, beg, borrow, steal, I'm going to have all of them. I'm going to be in control of everything. But that in itself is a controlling mindset, because you don't understand that you're not in control of anything. It's an illusion. So that illusion of having it all and being in control of everything is actually what's running the show. And any evidence to the contrary, that you're not in control, is going to really upset things. Over here, let's look deeply into the things I don't really want to look at. I want to guard myself against. I want to protect myself against. Let's look deeply into it because I have that strength. This is, I don't want to see. I don't want to know because it's going to upset me. This, interestingly, the Two of Swords is usually that card with the blindfold of I don't want to look, I don't want to know, sort of denial. She's saying I can keep myself safe so that I can look. And the Strength card is I have control of myself and how I respond to things. And then we end up down here with the Hierophant. Boy, I could go for an hour here. Let's do some. The Hierophant also talks about discipline, routine. Um, what's the word I want? Just the program that you follow. And it can be programming. That's what's trying to come through, programming. These people are looking to him. Tell me what to think. Program my brain, please. She's holding the book of the secrets. I will program my own brain. Thank you very much. So, dang. Let's start with the Seven of Swords. I gotta say, the book is a little hard to deal with because it is so big. And I really hope that the binding survives, but I'm not sure it will. It's only holding on. This separates and it's holding on by this little. I might have to shoot some glue in there. Anyway. Seven of Swords. A man steals away from an encampment. He carries 5 swords and 2 more lie embedded in the sand behind him. He looks back at the camp with a shifty expression, and boy, does he ever. Meaning distrust and dishonesty. Suspicion may be justified. Unreliability, theft, and dishonorable actions may be afoot. Be careful whom you trust, although there are also those who would be more supportive and loyal than you expect. Reverse is loss, defeat, and confusion. Multiple 7s in a spread. 3 7s mean an agreement will soon be made, a contract agreed upon, or an alliance formed. 4 7s, however, indicate a personal disappointment. Just fascinating. I want to see something else here. Swords. Yes. So in the description of each of the suits, she talks about how many of those show up. I won't read the first thing about swords in general, but at the end it says if there are more than 4 swords in a spread, this could be an ill omen. Swords are the suit of war, and a large number of them in a single spread could indicate that a major dispute or confrontation is brewing. Now, I love it that she includes that. I want to see if she says something about the majors. No, not at all. We just go straight in. So, and I'm not entirely sure of that. What I'm looking for here is if there's a more general comment about the majors and minors. I know I saw something to see if, if there's a lot of, no, I don't see that. I don't see that. Standard 78, blah, 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 blah. All right. So more than, now I just put the volume down on my phone because my son is texting me pictures. And it's going to keep going off, so apologies. A major dispute could be an ill omen or confrontation. So what I'm seeing here, the confrontation, hold on a minute. The confrontation here is within ourselves. It's the confrontation between spirituality and religion. Religion, which has us learning an external context to feed our spiritual needs versus going there ourselves and finding our own connection, our own understanding of how things work. So one of those puts us on this suspicious trail and worrying about the devil. Am I good? Am I evil? The whole thing of sin. So, and then this side being able to look gives us strength. Okay, like I said, I could go on for an hour here. So we had the 7 of Swords. Let's look at the High Priestess. A regal-looking woman sits on a throne with a papal tiara and staff. She is flanked by 2 columns, one light and one dark. A cheetah sits obediently at her feet. Her robe is decorated with gilt doves, and she cradles a large red book. During the Renaissance, the existence of a female pope in the Dark Ages was considered to be historical fact. That's Pope Joan. This card's old name, La Papessa, or the female pope, was changed to Juno in the 17th century. By that time, Pope Joan was held to be no more than a legend, and a potentially heretical one at that. Her story is intriguing, though. It is said that she posed as a man and rose to the church's highest office, but her deception was discovered when she became pregnant and gave birth on the steps of the Vatican. The name was changed to the High Priestess in the Rider-Waite deck, and some of the earlier papal symbolism returned. I have reverted completely to the original imagery, although with the Rider-Waite name. The Visconti Sforza's deck's female pope is probably my all-time favorite tarot card. It shows a dignified woman dressed in plain brown robes with a rope tied around her waist. On her head is an unmistakable papal tiara. The simplicity of her dress is particularly striking considering the opulence of the papacy in the 15th century when the deck was made. Meaning, female intuition, spiritual awareness, and acceptance of life's mysteries, secret knowledge, intelligence, and intuition. Beware of overenthusiasm. Interesting. And consider all factors before making an important decision. I guess relying too much, on just your enthusiasm rather than your deep inner knowing. But that would be reversed. Anyway, reversed is misguided passion, adultery, stupidity and ignorance, and conceit. Right. Two of Swords. A woman sits on a wooden stool holding two swords across her chest. Behind her, a rocky inlet is illuminated by moonlight. Meaning, a balancing act. Sometimes hard choices must be made, and indecision will only aggravate the situation. Compromise. Choose the lesser of two evils and work to minimize any damage that may be done. You have the ability to make the best of a bad situation. This card can also mean meeting a worthy adversary who will challenge you. Friendship may result once initial conflicts have been resolved. Reversed is indecisiveness, falsehood. Beware of those who seek conflict for its own sake. Multiple twos in a spread. 3 twos mean that a review, restructure, or reorganization is required. 4 twos indicate dialogue, discussion, and consultation. Awesome. All right. Now, the Devil. A devil dances about with a banner, proclaiming redemption in a traditional scene of hell. The devil's wings signify that he is Satan, a fallen angel. There is a dark second face on Satan's belly. Oh, yes, there is. And the scene includes other little devils, a snake, and fire. A woman and man tear at their hair in pain and suffering. Frighteningly graphic depictions of hell were commonplace during the Middle Ages and Renaissance. With most of the population illiterate, such images served to show in no uncertain terms what would happen to those who sinned. Meaning, time to confront your demons. Hell is our own creation. We cannot move forward in our lives without facing that which torments us. This can talk about being deceptive with yourself, a self-betrayer of I don't want to face it. So that the more we understand and face our fears, the more we take the blindfold off and look deeply inside, the less control they have over us. Fear of failure may be preventing you from reaching your full potential. Look back at all that you have weathered in the past to see that you have the strength to survive if things go wrong. This may help you realize that it's worth taking risks in order to do what you think is right. This is a card of temptation and perhaps addiction. Depending upon where it appears in a spread, it could indicate a need for the querent to question their own motives. Are they following a path deliberately that could be destructive? So look at this, questioning motives. This is the Thief card. Taking advantage, betrayal. That's a very interesting pairing there. Okay, reversed is breaking of an addiction, overcoming of a vice, or escape from a bad influence. Now let's look at strength. A finely decked knight faces us on a gray horse. He carries a gilt banner, so that's the guy in the background, and a blackbird sits on his shoulder. A woman in a golden gown supports a rampant lion who carries a shield on his back. An infinity symbol floats above her head, meaning what does not kill you makes you stronger. Look within yourself, or traumatized. Look within yourself and you will find the strength to survive all the trials and challenges fate throws at you. Use your strength. I want to say something about that though. That phrase, that saying, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. I mean, that's a something that you can use to get through tough times. But maybe we're strong enough to survive things, but that doesn't mean that we come through unchanged. That doesn't mean that they haven't left scars, that we aren't carrying the trauma with us, that happened during that. So, lots of nuance. Look within you, you find the strength to survive all the trials and challenges fate throws at you. Use your strength to enrich your own life and those around you. Protect those who cannot protect themselves. Someone needs your help. That's a really good, really interesting meaning for the strength card, that someone needs your help. I am strong enough to help someone else. This is a very powerful and positive card. It indicates great strength of character. Reversed, abuse of power, weakness, and inability to hold true to one's convictions. So at the center here, we have this high priestess. How much do we trust ourselves? How much do we trust our own intuition? When we are suspicious of it and we're looking for external validation, we get controlled by the externals, by our external circumstances. When we are brave enough to look inside and say, what is my responsibility in this? What are the things that I'm healing from? Let's look at this trauma and see what I do with it. It does draw upon our strength, which multiplies our strength. And then, so the strength of character is in looking inside. This is fascinating. And here's the Hierophant at the end. A man stands in a cathedral, flanked by a priest, a monk, and two large white columns. Although his papal tiara, staff, and keys clearly show him to be a pope, he is simply dressed and relatively unadorned. Along with the high priestess, this card's name and imagery has changed over the centuries based on religious sensitivities. Renaissance decks always featured a pope, and even the occult Rider-Waite deck showed a papal figure, albeit with a changed name. I have chosen a simply dressed pope to suit my interpretation of the card's spiritual nature, although I acknowledge that during the Renaissance, the papacy was characterized by opulence, hypocrisy, and political power. Yes, that's why you had people that were children and grandchildren of the Pope. This was the time of the Inquisition, after all, so please excuse my somewhat idealized interpretation. Meaning, spiritual guidance and authority, tradition and structure may be necessary at times to create order from chaos. This card indicates a time of change, particularly in relationships. It is time to see now. The Hierophant to me was always same old, same old, same old. Routine, unchanging, dogma, patterns, habits. Okay. It's time to seek truth and meaning. It is time to leave the past behind you. Clearing your mind of past thoughts and feelings, a greater level of spiritual understanding will follow. Reversed is weakness, intolerance, and lack of understanding need to be overcome. So, let me see here. It was after, talking about where our strength comes. Oh, yes. So all of these things that our strength, we need to be trusting of ourselves enough that we can look deeply in with the trauma and the things that seem to have us by the short and curlies and be running our lives. Those subconscious old patterns and programs that need to be deleted. And so we do that, but we come down to the Hierophant. What does he mean in this position? He means that we have to practice. He means that we do need routines. We do need practices. We need to do things on a routine basis so they become habit, so that we can develop, instead of this habit of suspicion, and doubt, and habit of just allowing those subconscious things to run the show, allowing all of our desires and temptations to run us and rule us. Those are our habits. Instead of that habit, we develop a new habit of mind. we develop a new habit of trusting intuition, and but it comes through practice, daily meditation, daily devotion, whatever it is, yoga, prayer, meditation, something that helps to instill in us this sense of strength and trust and open-eyed curiosity, wanting to see what's inside. And if we draw, really draw on that spiritual foundation, that becomes our habit then, away from this old way of sinful devil, stuff. Damn you guys. Incredible. And you know what? I want to find a quote here. Let's just look for the first quote because I want to read how the quotes are written. And of course, it's going to take forever. 6-2 page. Okay, page of coins. And these appendices are so long. All right. A young man in dark red robes holds a large coin. An angel appears in the air before him holding a message. An open book lies on the ground, and a goat leaps behind him. A studious youth, scholarship, study, and academia. Hard work will bring high achievement. A messenger is expected who will bring good news. The astrological sign of Capricorn. Reversed is an untrustworthy man who is unwilling to work hard but has a love of wealth. Multiple pages in a spread. 3 pages mean the company of young people. 4 pages indicate fresh new ideas and a change of plans and goals. Okay, so if you see, this, sorry, you guys, that's my ADHD. Like I gotta have something going at all times. Anyway, page of coins here, talking about study and scholarship. So I'm thinking that it's time to do something structured, Capricorn, as far as coming to the next level of our intuition. If you're, watching my channel because you're a budding reader and you're practicing, you don't think you're very good, you have the intuition, you just need to, disabuse yourself of whatever superstitions you have. This can be superstition, superstitions you have about it, and trust your intuition, look deeply into it, strengthen your practice by doing it all the time, making it a habit. And the page of coins there just says study. Take a course, take a class, something structured. Dang, cat. This is a deck so worth having. I am so glad that it's in my collection. It's literally been sitting here for months, waiting for unboxing. And I'm so glad I picked it today because I almost went with something else. But what a wealth. What an incredible wealth is contained in this deck. Let me know what you think of it, and if you have it. And, I suspect that this is a lot of people's big go-to deck. But I'd love to hear what you think. Drop it in the comments below. If you would like, pretty much the only way to get a personal reading from me is to go hit the Amazon wish list below and buy me a deck and send me a question, and I will read for you on the unboxing. So I'm glad you came to hang out with me, and I will see you next time. While you're on your way out, hit the like button, please, and subscribe if you're not already. Hit the bell so you'll know when I'm doing lives and stuff, and I will see you next time. Till then, it's Luna. Blessed be.